Something unusual is happening inside Tesla, and this time, it is not about a faster supercar, a luxury SUV, or another futuristic promise that feels years away. It is about a vehicle the market has been waiting for, a smaller and cheaper Tesla that could bring the brand back into the conversation where it once dominated. Affordable electric transportation. For years, Tesla built its reputation on making electric cars desirable, fast, clean, and technologically advanced. But the company also became more expensive than many buyers expected. Now, with competition closing in from every direction, the idea of a $25,000 compact SUV is no longer just a dream sitting on an investor slide. It has become a question of survival, timing, and whether Tesla can still move faster than the companies chasing it. The pressure did not appear overnight. Tesla entered 2026 facing its third consecutive year of falling deliveries, with around 358,000 vehicles delivered in the first quarter, a number that raised eyebrows because it showed weakness at a time when the electric vehicle market itself was still expanding. That detail matters because when a company loses volume while the category keeps growing, it usually means buyers are not disappearing. They are simply looking somewhere else. And that is exactly what has been happening. Shoppers who once saw Tesla as the obvious electric choice are now comparing range, price, comfort, warranty, charging options, and monthly payments with a much wider list of rivals. The market that Tesla helped create has become crowded, sharper, and far less patient. One of the clearest warning signs is coming from Chevrolet. The new Chevy Bolt is expected to stay under $30,000 while offering around 303 miles of range, which puts it directly in the territory Tesla should have owned by now. That kind of number changes the conversation because it gives regular families a practical EV without forcing them into luxury pricing. At the same time, Nissan continues trying to defend its space in the affordable electric segment, while BYD keeps expanding globally with aggressive pricing, huge production scale, and models that are becoming harder to ignore. This is the part that makes the situation more serious. Tesla is not being challenged by one company with one lucky product. It is being squeezed by legacy automakers, Chinese giants, and a market that now understands electric cars much better than before. That is why the Reuters report landed with so much weight. According to 4 independent sources, Tesla has quietly returned to development of the compact $25,000 SUV, the same kind of affordable vehicle Elon Musk appeared to cancel in 2024 when attention shifted toward robo-taxis and autonomy. If that report is accurate, it suggests something important happened behind the scenes. Tesla may have realized that a self-driving future does not remove the need for a cheap, useful, human-owned car in the present. A robo-taxi can sound revolutionary on stage, but a family looking at monthly payments wants a vehicle. They can park at home, drive to work, charge overnight, and trust for years. That gap between the futuristic promise and the everyday buyer is exactly where this compact SUV could fit. The timing makes the project even more interesting, because Tesla is no longer trying to introduce an affordable model from a position of total control. It would be returning to the idea after rivals have already learned from Tesla's playbook, copied parts of its strategy, and attacked the price points Tesla left open. A $25,000 compact SUV would not just be another new Tesla. It would be a test of whether the company can still turn manufacturing scale, software, battery efficiency, and brand recognition into a car that regular people can actually afford. And if Tesla really is bringing this project back, then the biggest story is not simply that the cheap Tesla may exist again. The bigger story is that the market may have forced Tesla to remember why that car mattered in the first place. That pressure explains why the size of this compact SUV matters so much. According to 2 of the 4 Reuters sources, the The vehicle would measure about 4.28 meters long, which makes it roughly 51 centimeters shorter than the Model Y. On paper, that may sound like a small difference, but in real life, it changes the way a car feels before it even leaves the driveway. American buyers often think about range, price, and charging first, but size is what they deal with every single day. It affects parking, garage space, tight streets, school drop-offs, grocery runs, and whether the vehicle feels easy or stressful to live with. This is where Tesla's smaller SUV could become more than just a cheaper Model Y. The Model Y became one of the most important electric vehicles in the world because it gave families space, performance, and practicality in one package. But for many buyers, especially those who live in older neighborhoods, crowded suburbs, apartments, or homes with smaller garages, it is still larger than necessary. A 4.28-meter Tesla would sit in a more flexible zone. It would still offer the higher seating position and crossover feeling that buyers like, but without the bulk that makes larger SUVs harder to maneuver. That difference could make the vehicle feel less like a compromise and more like the correct size for everyday life. The weight figure may be even more important. The compact SUV is expected to weigh around 1.5 tons, roughly 500 kilograms less than the Model Y. That is not just an engineering detail hidden inside a spec sheet. Weight affects almost everything in an electric vehicle, from how much energy it uses to how often tires wear out. A lighter EV needs less power to move, less force to stop, and less energy to maintain speed. Over years of ownership, that can quietly save money in places buyers do not always think about at first. The car may cost less to buy, but the real advantage could be that it also costs less to keep on the road. Tire wear is one of the biggest examples. Electric vehicles deliver instant torque, and when they are heavy, that combination can put serious stress on tires. Many EV owners discover this only after living with the car for a while, when replacement costs start appearing sooner than expected. A vehicle that is 500 kilograms lighter would naturally put less pressure on the tires every time it accelerates, turns, or brakes. The same logic applies to the braking system. Even with regenerative braking doing much of the work, less mass means less strain when the physical brakes are needed. That matters for families who want the benefits of an EV without being surprised by maintenance costs later. The smaller size and reduced weight also point to something deeper about the design philosophy. Tesla would not simply be shrinking the Model Y and calling it affordable. To reach a lower price, the company would need to remove unnecessary mass, simplify the structure, and make every part work harder for the cost. That is why the dimensions are so important. They suggest a vehicle designed around efficiency from the beginning, not a budget version carved out of a more expensive car. And if Tesla gets that balance right, the compact SUV could feel lighter, easier, cheaper to run, and more practical in the exact places where daily drivers notice the difference first. The next detail may sound simple at first, but it could be one of the smartest decisions behind the entire project. This compact SUV is expected to use a single electric motor, and many people will immediately read that as a downgrade. In the EV market, dual motor setups are often presented as more exciting because they usually mean all-wheel drive, quicker acceleration, and a more expensive trim. But for a vehicle built around affordability, efficiency, and daily use, one motor does not automatically mean less value. In many cases, it means fewer parts, lower cost, lighter weight, and a cleaner engineering solution for the way most people actually drive. That point becomes easier to understand when looking at the Model 3 Standard. It uses a single motor, starts at around $36,990, and was named the best electric car of 2026 by Edmunds. That matters because it shows that a single-motor Tesla can still deliver a strong real-world experience without pretending to be a performance car. Most drivers are not launching from 0 to 60 at every traffic light. They are commuting, merging onto highways, taking kids to school, going to work, visiting stores, and charging at home. For that kind of use, smooth power delivery, predictable range, and low running costs often matter much more than having another motor on the opposite axle. A single motor layout also fits perfectly with the idea of a lighter compact SUV. Every extra motor adds cost, wiring, control systems, cooling needs, and weight. Those pieces can be useful in a more expensive vehicle, but in a $25,000 model, they can quickly push the car away from its main mission. If Tesla wants this vehicle to be affordable in a structural way, not just through temporary discounts or incentives, then simplicity becomes part of the product itself. One motor means the company can focus on efficiency, software tuning, battery management, and manufacturing speed instead of building a cheaper car that still carries expensive hardware most buyers may not need. There is also a practical performance argument here. Electric motors deliver power instantly, so even a single-motor EV can feel quick in normal driving. The car does not need a massive engine, complicated transmission, or high RPM drama to feel responsive. It can move cleanly from a stop, accelerate smoothly in traffic, and handle highway speeds without making the driver feel like something is missing. That is why calling it basic would be too simple. The better question is whether the motor setup matches the purpose of the vehicle. For a compact SUV meant to lower the cost of Tesla ownership, a single motor could be exactly the right tool for the job. This decision also helps separate the compact SUV from the bigger, more expensive models in Tesla's lineup. The Model Y can remain the stronger family crossover, with more space and more performance options, while the smaller vehicle focuses on being easy to buy, easy to drive, and efficient over time. That kind of separation is important because Tesla does not need another car that overlaps too heavily with what it already sells. It needs a car that opens a new door for buyers who have been watching from the outside. And if the single-motor setup helps Tesla protect the price, improve efficiency, and reduce long-term ownership costs, then it may not be a compromise at all. The battery chemistry is where the $25,000 target starts to look less like a marketing number and more like an engineering problem Tesla has to solve piece by piece. In March 2026, the U.S. government confirmed a $4.3 billion agreement between Tesla and LG Energy Solution to produce LFP battery cells in Lansing, Michigan, with production expected to begin in 2027. That detail is important because this compact SUV cannot depend on expensive battery chemistry and still land at an affordable price. The battery is one of the most expensive parts of an electric vehicle, so if Tesla wants to lower the price without making the car feel weak, the chemistry has to do a lot of the heavy lifting. LFP stands for lithium iron phosphate, and the main difference is that it does not rely on the same expensive nickel-heavy materials used in many long-range EV batteries. That makes it cheaper, more stable, and easier to use in a vehicle focused on everyday driving instead of extreme performance. Industry estimates put LFP packs around $98 per kilowatt-hour, while nickel-based chemistries often sit closer to $112 to $120 per kilowatt-hour. That gap may not sound dramatic at first, but across an entire battery pack, it can be the difference between a car that barely misses the affordable market and one that actually reaches it. For a company trying to build at scale, every dollar saved per cell becomes massive when multiplied across hundreds of thousands of vehicles. The other advantage is durability. LFP batteries are known for handling repeated charging cycles very well, which makes them especially useful for drivers who want simple routines. With many nickel-based batteries, owners are often encouraged to charge to around 80% for daily use and save 100% for longer trips. LFP changes that experience because charging to 100% every day is generally less stressful for the pack. For the average buyer, that removes confusion. They do not need to think like a battery engineer every night. They can plug in, charge fully, and start the morning with the maximum range available without worrying as much about long-term degradation. That matters even more for an affordable Tesla because the buyer of a $25,000 EV is likely to care deeply about long-term cost. This person may not be shopping for the fastest acceleration or the biggest screen. They may be asking a more practical question. How much will this car cost to live with after 5, 7, or 10 years? A cheaper, longer-lasting battery helps answer that question in a way that feels concrete. It supports lower pricing, reduces anxiety about battery health, and gives the vehicle a stronger ownership story. In that sense, LFP is not just a cost-cutting choice. It becomes part of the reason the car could make sense for regular families. The connection between local production and LFP chemistry is also important. If Tesla and LG can produce these cells in Michigan, the compact SUV becomes less dependent on long, fragile supply chains and more connected to American manufacturing. That could help with cost control, supply stability, and possibly eligibility for incentives, depending on the rules in place when the vehicle reaches production. But the deeper point is simple. The $25,000 Tesla needs a battery that is affordable by design, not discounted after the fact. And among the available options, LFP looks like the chemistry most capable of making that price structurally possible. The software story is where this compact SUV becomes more complicated, because Tesla is not only trying to sell a cheaper electric car, it is also trying to sell confidence that the car will not feel outdated too quickly. That is a sensitive point for Tesla owners because the HW3 situation left a mark. Around 3 million owners paid as much as $15,000 for the promise of full self-driving capability, only to face the reality that the hardware did not fully keep up with what had been promised. Elon Musk acknowledged in the first quarter of 2026 that HW3 would not be enough for the final vision in the way many buyers had expected. And that admission changed the way people look at Tesla's future-ready claims. That is why the AI4 hardware matters so much here. Every new Tesla currently comes with AI4, and according to Musk, this chip is already powerful enough for unsupervised full self-driving. In April 2026, Tesla's next chip, AI5, completed tape-out, which means the design reached a major step before manufacturing. But Musk also clarified that AI5 would be aimed more at Optimus and data center use, not necessarily required for every new vehicle on the road. That distinction is important because it suggests Tesla may finally have a cleaner hardware line. AI4 for cars, AI5 for robots, and heavier AI workloads. For buyers, the real question is simple. Will this cheaper Tesla be protected from becoming the next HW3 story? A $25,000 vehicle cannot feel like a bargain if owners later discover they bought the wrong computer at the wrong time. That is why including AI4 would be a major feature, not just a technical footnote. It would mean the compact SUV gets the same current generation self-driving computer used in Tesla's more expensive vehicles. In other words, the affordable model would not be treated like a second-class Tesla when it comes to the brain of the car. This could change how people think about value. Usually, cheaper vehicles get older parts, weaker hardware, and fewer future upgrades. Tesla has a chance to do something different by putting modern autonomy hardware into the lowest-priced model from the beginning. If the software improves over time, the car could become more capable years after purchase through over-the-air updates. That does not mean buyers should blindly believe every timeline, especially because Tesla has missed autonomy deadlines many times before. But it does mean the hardware itself may not be the immediate bottleneck in the way HW3 became. The bigger point is that future-proof cannot just be a slogan anymore. After HW3, Tesla has to earn that trust through hardware choices that make sense from day one. If the compact SUV arrives with AI4, it could be the first affordable Tesla where the current generation and the future-ready promise actually overlap. That would make the car more than cheap transportation. It would make it a test of whether Tesla can combine low price, modern computing power, and long-term software growth without asking buyers to take the same leap of faith all over again. The most speculative feature is also the one that could make this compact SUV feel very different from anything Tesla has sold before. According to one Reuters source, the vehicle is being designed for autonomy, but still with the option for human driving. That detail matters because it suggests something more specific than a normal car with self-driving software added later.